Bit of a late start this morning. It's
quarter to 10.
It's quarter to 10. Oh my god. Like, I always get up early, but we must have just been exhausted. It was such a quiet room. It was like virtually soundproofed. Thick, heavy drapes, so they were blackout curtains. And we didn't kind of get out of bed or wake up until about 7:45.
After 200
That's
meters,
really late. So we're taking the scenic route. We're not that far from Florence, which is our next point of accommodation. We're staying in Florence for 2 nights. So we've decided to go the tourist way, stay off the state highways, because most of the roads here are motorway type situations.
Off the roundabout, 3rd exit.
So we're going to be calling into a few old towns on the way. So we'll just be winging it a little bit. So Siena was great. Siena was surprising.
It was a surprise. Because with the part we were in, we were like,
once again, old Rick Steves.
Yeah.
Bloody great.
And we got down into the old part, and there was celebrations going on with the locals.
Yeah. So we were pleasantly surprised. We didn't think there was that much to it, but it's a huge ancient city. And did a great walk last night. So yeah, on to our first little town. Not sure what it's called, but we'll get there. Buongiorno, Chianti. We've arrived in the Chianti wine region, and what's more fitting as a backdrop, but a medieval town in the distance which we're headed to, and grapevines. The famous Chianti wine region. Very excited to be here. Beautiful countryside, just a tapestry of vineyards and olive trees. And I have to say, the olive oil and the preserved olives that we have been eating have just been out of this world. Amazing. On a whole different level to what we get in New Zealand. We always like getting tips and tricks from people that have travelled in the area before, and I follow on social media a girl called Travelling Corkscrew. And if you can't trust somebody with a pseudonym of Travelling Corkscrew, who can you trust? So thank you for the recommendation. We've stopped off at a place called Montefioralle. Not sure if that's the way you pronounce it, but I'll put the spelling below. And it's just a little medieval hilltop town, one of many that we've passed, but this is on our way to Florence. We've got a little bit of time to fill in. And just look how cute that is. So still in the Chianti region, lots of grapevines around, just perfect. Just going to go for a bit of a wander and maybe find some wine tasting. Okay, this little historic hillside village that we walk through, it used to be a stronghold during the wars between Florence and Siena. Those two cities were always trying to outdo each other, and we learnt all about that on our walk with Rick Steves around Siena last night. So it became in 1250 the headquarters of the League of the Greve Valley. And it was used to have 2 sets of walls in an octagonal shape with 4 gates. Lost its importance with the fall of the Sienese Republic. Most of the inhabitants moved to Greve in Chianti.
Which is just down the road, eh?
Just down the road.
A mile.
We've made it to Florence. I think on our original itinerary, when we were trying to just loosely map out a route, that we were only going to spend about half a day in Florence and then sort of stay outside of the city. But it is on the tourist route. There is quite a bit to see, and so we've decided to come straight to Florence from Siena. It wasn't that long a drive, and we're staying 2 nights. I'll tell you all about our B&B later, because it's a really nice spot. You can catch a bus into the city of Florence, but we've decided to walk it. I don't think you really want to drive too close to the city because there are lots of limited zone areas where you get fined if you accidentally drive into them, and so I think it's just safer if we walk, really. So we're making our way to Michelangelo's David.
All going well.
All going well. I think it's about a 45-minute walk, hey, we read
From here.
from our B&B.
Yeah.
And then we are going, the plan is we're going to go to, I can't remember, Duomo Piazza Duomo, and that's where Rick Steve's audio guided walk starts from. We've downloaded another walk of his to take us around the highlights. He's also got audio guides for museums and art galleries, and that's not really us. So we're just going to do his Renaissance walk, which I think is about an hour. So that's the plan anyway. And we're just about to cross the river, and I think that's where we sort of hit the major tourist hub of Florence.
Something good so far?
Time for a bit of enlightenment and a little bit of culture. We've walked and we've made it to the Accademia. Michelangelo's David is here. So we're just listening to Rick, and he's going to guide us around the museum. It was €8 each to get in, and there was no queue, very little queue. It can be quite daunting, and you can skip the queue tickets. So let's go and get a bit of culture. So there are a number of things that one must do when one is in Italy, and particularly in Florence, because it's famous for them. Gelato.
What did you get? I got pistachio.
Scone's got pistachio.
This is a strap.
I don't know. It began with S. I'm not sure. It's got chocolate chips in it. Good?
It is.
Yeah, I'm dripping everywhere. From doing Rick Steve's audio guide around Florence, and this is the outside of our B&B, Casale de Cento Acri, and behind these doors is just like a little oasis. It's just beautiful. Oh, there's Mama. I'm going to call her Sophia. Buongiorno. She looks like a Sophia. Walking the dog. And that's like where we're going to have breakfast in the morning. And this is like all their property and behind this wall. And that's like a little oasis. There's our car parked all the way down there. Okay, Sophia doesn't really, Auntie Sophia, we're going to call her, doesn't really talk much English, but we got there. She told us where to go and restaurants to try and was ever so helpful. For TripAdvisor and Booking.com, a 9.3, which is very good. Can't remember the price on the top of my head, but I'll put it below what we've paid. So we're upstairs. This is our humble room. It's got an extra cot in it, but it's very good for putting our packs on. Or my pack anyway. Quite comfy. Communal fridge outside with drinks that you can take and just note down, and the bathroom's very modern, and yeah, just very nice. So we're in Florence, and when you're in Florence you've got to treat yourself. Hey Scotty?
That you do.
Yeah. So we've ordered a classical Chianti. After tomorrow, we're going to be so expert on Chianti wine, but this is a classical Chianti, and it's €20 for the bottle.
Yep.
So it's a step up from our €2 bottle we bought at the supermarket yesterday. That was from Chianti region as well. But there is no such thing as a bad wine in Italy.
No.
We've had more expensive, we've had more cheap. There's no such thing as a bad wine. What is it about that? So we're just going through an extensive menu, really leaning towards the steak because Florence is famous for their Florentine steak. So let's see what comes out. Let's see what we choose.
Tuna starter.
So this is what Scotty chose.
Yep.
Your typical Tuscany meats for an appetizer. Like,
That's got to be. I hate it when people are looking at us.
we just like to blend in, but that's like a statement.
It is it's cool.
So we went for the mixed spit, that you could say it. Mixed spit roast meat.
Yeah.
So we've got a...
Bit of chicken.
You'll have to speak up.
Bit of steak.
Can't hear you.
Bit of chicken, bit of steak. Oh, just all the meats you can get in the area. And it's just...
Chicken, steak and sausage.
It's good. It's beautiful meat. Okay.
So we don't book many tours. We only do a tour if we think that it's worth it and we can't do it on our own. So today we're booked with iBike Tuscany. Yeah, iBike Tuscany. Really good reviews. We're on e-bikes and we are going to be biking around some of the wineries in Chianti region. So we visit 3 wineries, lunch is included, pick up from our Airbnb here in Florence and travel out. And it's the one and only time that it's been raining in the morning since we've arrived in Italy. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But anyway, we've got our ponchos, we've got plastic bags, we've got a little pack cover, so hopefully we're not going to get too drenched. But very much looking forward to it, learning all about Chianti wine. So we've had our first winery, our first tasting at Mazzeri in Fontierotoli. I think I've said that right. So this goes back to like the 14th century. 1435? 1435 this winery started. So we had our tastings of 4 different wines. We chose the wines that are made directly in this region, and went from strong to smooth, I would say. Yeah, very nice. So we haven't hopped on our bikes yet, but she's just putting them all together. So 2 wineries down, and we stopped for a gelato in Castellina, and it's another small medieval town. The old castle there in the background. Scott's finishing off my gelato because I've got full. But no, it's been a great day. It hasn't been a long bike ride. I think we've got about another 11 k's of cycling to go, she said. No,